pronouns are they, them. That might be confusing. She, pronouns they, them. All right, I'll have to we'll navigate through this now. U.S.
Once you hear, yeah.
No.
If you knew what my name meant in Japanese, if you knew what my name meant in Japanese, you might not be confused as to why I went with they, them.
No worries. Yeah, I don't know any Japanese, so yeah. But yeah, she. We don't have much time, but yeah, we wanted to get you in real quick and give your concerns, and then.
Right on. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So what did you have for
my
us?
question is this for the both Dr. Ben and you, JMike. I'm coming out of my faith, born again Christian, and other. I practice many other world religions as well. But coming out of them intellectually speaking, like I don't see really any reason why any of them should be true intellectually, but having the hard time finding the disconnect when it comes to my emotions. And I was wondering if the both of you, I know you, JMike, came out of this certain spiritualism, I think maybe, but and I don't not too much about Dr. Ben's upbringing, but if any of the both of you can offer how does one disconnect emotionally after already disconnecting intellectually?
Ben, I feel like your background's more suited. I can kind of give my views, but I think you would be better on.
I guess I have a question. Like, when you say that you're still connected emotionally, what does that mean for you?
It means that like for a great I saw a lot of redeemable characteristics and story themes within a lot of the different scriptural tones, not just the Hebrew and the Christian Bible, but like the Tao and Buddhistic scriptures and the Vedas and then Hindu scriptures and even the Suras or a certain extent of them. And I felt a certain loyalty to certain different angelic figures and certain different characters within those tones and texts. And I feel like emotionally, if I was to disconnect altogether, I would lose a certain sense of my own personal loyalty to myself.
So what it sounds like, I don't know if you need to entirely disconnect in that way, because if you intellectually know that this is the story isn't true, but I think a lot of us have story characters that we kind of identify with, and when we say identify with, it's not us obviously saying I'm not claiming to be Batman or whoever, but saying that you see traits in this fictional character that resonate with you, or you say I want to be like this person, even though they're not a real person. There's still some.
For the record, I'm not trying to be Rasputin. For the record,
you're not trying. But I don't think you need to necessarily disconnect that. You can just understand this is a fictional character, but I like the story. This is a meaningful story to me, and I get value out of the lessons I've learned from this story, and I can see myself wanting to embody certain traits of this character in my everyday life. I think that's fine. And I don't think you're irrational for doing that, as long as you understand that you're taking inspiration from fiction.
Exactly. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Would you say there is? Would you say even though I do find these stories, some of these stories, to a certain extent, how shall I say, fantastic and inspiring, that's not any necessary level of emotional belief or intellectual belief?
I don't. Well, I want to make sure I understand. But the fact that I don't know what you came from. If it was Christianity or something, I would take it that someone scholars even, or Bart Ehrman and people like that still have this emotional kind of attachment, and they grew up in this, and they've been very expressed on how much they love the stories, and they think they're good stories. I think there's ones we could pick out that aren't so great or whatever. But I think I'm with Ben. I don't really see an issue. I think it's kind of expected. I would expect that for people, but I might have that myself, actually, in a sense, where I came from a more spiritual type of background, and philosophy, say views like Platonism, or not substance dualism or idealism, but property dualism. These types of views have always been attractive to me. And it's probably from an emotional attachment from kind of my background on it. And I have this intellectual battle in my head of like, oh, well, you know, are there these abstract objects or they're not? And getting this really dumb philosophical weed. But I think I might have a similar thing as you, it sounds like, where there's this kind of emotional attachment and then I'm fighting with this intellectual side. But it sounds like if that's not like overpowering you, or you can think critically or reserve judgment on things, even though you have that, I feel like you're in a really good place. I'd want to say that about myself, but I don't know. Maybe I'm way off, but yeah, I don't know. But I feel like if I could relate it to me, I feel like that's a healthy thing, or it could be healthy. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, if you separate that intellectual side, isn't that what matters?
I just didn't want to get caught up in the, like, one thing I was wondering, and I asked the call screen, I was like, do you think they'll call me a believer if I say I still kind of have this emotional connection? Yet
no, I can expect
I'm totally disconnected.
Yeah, no, not at all. I don't think it's easy for any of us to judge the kind of process that you went to accepting, you know, outside of our own, and we can relate those and have some overlapping kind of effects, obviously. But no, I mean, I think that sounds normal to me, so long as you make this if you have this distinction in your head, like there's a proposition like Christianity is true or whatever you know believe prior or something for anybody, is so long as if you think about that proposition, you say, well, I don't believe it. I'm not saying it's false, maybe, but I don't think it's true. I mean, then you're not a theist, you're not accepting it. And that to me is a very clear indication that if you can feel very confident in saying, I don't accept that proposition, or my attitude towards the proposition or my belief towards it is that I don't know, or I think it's false. I don't see any problem, because it sounds like the intellectual side's working. You just kind of have these mental events or mental states in your head that are very familiar to you, and they might even be comforting in some ways, you know. So I don't know, but I think you ultimately would know that, you know.
No, I think you pinned it down pretty to a T, JMike. Yeah.
Thanks. I think Ben said way cooler stuff than me.
Thank you guys for taking my call, really. Yeah, Dr. Ben too. No, Dr. Ben too. Thank you, and thank you guys for taking my call. Very much appreciate it.
For sure. Yeah. We definitely appreciate it, and maybe call back if you get through, I don't know, a different hurdle here, and you say, I thought about this and I believe it's stronger or less. I'd be interested to know where you go from there. But thank you for calling, we appreciate it.